Woo! Alright. It's been a while since we've looked at the old tier list. Well, I realized that a lot of people wanted these to come back, but I was like, I don't want to just keep talking about characters, so instead, I decided I'll talk about maps, and I'm starting with Genealogy. Why? Because I'm lazy, and Genealogy has the least amount of maps in the series, so it's the least I have to talk about. So, this is just my opinion, so keep that in mind. Now that I put up my flame shield to defend me from any backlash due to terrible opinions, let's just get started. Now, when I judge a map, I'm not just judging how much fun it is to play. I'm also judging how well it ties into the story as well, and the themes of it. That's very important in Genealogy, less important in other games, but it's important in a lot of them. We'll get to what I'm talking about later. Once we get to these maps, I'll be talking about it. But for right now, the Prologue. The very first map, it'll be represented by Sigurd here. Because, I know starting off with an S tier is kind of like, oh my god, really? The first one is S tier? But yes, I genuinely think that the Prologue of Genealogy of the Holy War is one of, if not the best first maps in the series. The only one that competes with it is Thracia. Because almost everything about Genealogy comes across in that first map. The scale is felt immediately, but not overwhelmingly so. The map is much bigger than any map in the series up until that point, but it's not overwhelming. Sure, there are brigands going about setting fire to villages, but it gets across very quickly, 1, you're not going to perfect save every village. There are multiple villages in the Prologue that will get attacked before you can get there. So it's letting you know right out the gate, don't stress it. Just get there before it all burns down, and you'll be fine. It also, and the scale of it, you feel how big the map is, but you're not overwhelmed. You can still go about it. You're still fine to play the game. It lets you know that... Okay, let me try to think about this here. It gives you special objectives for the villages early on, because the speed ring is found in the Prologue, and they don't skimp out on you. They don't give you some throwaway item that's really not too useful, like the skill ring or something. The speed ring is valuable. Plus 5 speed is huge. It also gives you plenty of time to get adjusted to how the game's combat works. It lets you get used to the fact that doubling is tied to a skill now. It just gives you a lot of time to get used to everything. It also, for those that like to play slower, does offer chances to where, like, you can turtle a little bit. There is that one tile wide choke point on the bridge. You can slap Arden on there. If you like using infantry, you can use them. And nothing on the other side of that bridge matters. It's just the boss that you kill and then capture the castle. So once you reach that point, you can play slow. You can fuck around and find out. There's no problem with that. I think the Prologue handles it perfectly. Everything about Genealogy is portrayed to you in the Prologue. And Arthas shows up. And that's really cool. I've gone on record with saying this. I love when any game's like, hey, here's the big bad, like 30 hours before you're supposed to fight him. Look at what you have to deal with. I like that. Him showing up as an ally is also really cool. I love the Prologue. I think it's one of the best. And then it immediately gives us one of its worst maps soon afterwards. Now, I don't think Chapter 1 is terrible. I think the end of it is terrible, but that doesn't negate that everything up until that point was pretty good. The opening assault against, it's not Gandalf. Gandalf's the other brother. Whatever the guy that has the hand axe for Lex, basically. That gets you going immediately. There is no time to waste. You're fighting a huge group of units very quickly. But if you're paying attention, it's a very good time to really get you used to how terrain works, because every Fire Emblem, forest equals good. You know, that was nothing new. But this one, road equals bad, and all the enemies are coming at you from a road. So you're naturally starting to learn, hey, If I hide in the forest and they're on the road, that is like a 30% accuracy and dodge difference. Like, it is not insignificant. And it never tells you that. You can just see that. Also, Ideen and Do are a good, like, immediate objective to worry about. Because they can run. Like, they can get away. But if you're not quick, they're going to be caught in between the two units of axemen. And sure, it's kind of hard to fuck up enough that happens, but it's the illusion of danger. It makes you think, oh, I have to deal with this thing, without forcing you to do it very, like, absurdly quickly. Because again, this is just chapter 1. Ira also serves as a very good objective there, because she's completely in the way. Like, comparing her to, say, other early game red units, like Daros or Navarre, none of them, like, Navarre was dangerous, but he was out of the way. You could wait to deal with him and fly Sheeta around to talk to him. And Daros and Castor, they're not very strong. Like, you don't gotta worry about them too much. Ira will fucking kill you. She is very dangerous, and she's directly in the way. You have to find out a clever solution to deal with her. Maybe it's try to dodge a lot. Put, like, I don't know, Finn or someone in the forest and have her go attack them. Or maybe it's like form a wall, box her in. It's very, like, it's an objective that's hard to deal with right away, and I like that. The problem with Chapter 1 is the last leg of it. Going through the forest. Like, losing movement just feels unfun. Alright? Like, I think that's a very simple thing to say. So going through a forest, everyone's movement is cut, and it's not even like, oh, well, you can use your infantry, it's encouraging that. No, the forest cuts their movement down too. There's really not much of a difference at that point. And it's just not fun to go through. Recruiting Jomke isn't even that hard either, you just have to not die to him, which, granted, is a little tricky. You might need to reset for it. But, like, it's obvious what to do with Jomke. Just talk to him with Ideen. You really don't need to think too hard. And it's just, it just grinds the entire chapter to a halt. And at the very end, it's not even really, like, for anything. Like, there's a case later on where that monotony plays a part, and I'll get to that. But here, there's no point. It's just fucking slow because you're going through a forest. Like, all they had to do was for the events of this to make sense, is Sigurd had to walk through the forest. And they already do that with the thicket. It forms a one-tile-wide gap that Sigurd has to cross through, so he has to meet Deirdre. Like, that's fine. It's just everything else leading up to it is just too slow. It doesn't negate what was leading up to it being a good map. Oh, and Eldigan showing up. Doing the same thing that they did with Arvis, but Eldigan's a bit different, because when Arvis showed up to fight on in the prologue, there was sinister music in the background, his design looks kind of evil, like, something's off about Arvis in the prologue, you can feel that. With Eldigan, it's more of a misdirection, because there's no indicator he's gonna be a bad guy. He's genuinely cool at helping you. And it also sets up the conflict in the next chapter pretty nicely, and you get to watch the Cross Knights work. And then you have to fight them. It gives you a prologue to what you're fighting. Disturbance in Agustria. Often chided as one of the worst maps in the franchise, and I don't know what the fuck people are talking about. Like, there are a lot of maps like Arcadia or the Tellius Bridge that I'm like, yeah, that's as terrible as everyone says it is. But Disturbance in Agustria? I fucking love this map. From the start, you have an objective. Latches and her knights are dying. Go stop that. And you are away from them. You get the order, oh, hey, she's under attack, and you're not just instantly there. Of course not. You have to get there. And it's this panicked race where you lose the race. They will get to them before you can. To me, it makes it feel more authentic. Like, you are in a mad panic to get there in time. You feel that. The game doesn't just tell you, hey, Sigurd is rushing to save Lachus. You're feeling it. And the fact that you're always going to be a little bit too late, I think helps the map. The other thing is this is the best case, in my opinion, of gameplay story integration in the entire franchise. Because how easy would it be for the game to just say, yeah, Agustria is kind of a nation where the politics are like there's always infighting. It's a very divided nation. They show it to you. Eldigan was the thing keeping them together. They were all afraid of Eldigan. He leaves. Immediately, one nation's like, ha, I'm gonna take over this other part of the nation while he's gone. And then another part's like, oh, chaos and pandemonium? Oh, right, I'm gonna sneak in and I'm gonna steal the shit out of villages. And then another one's like, huh, a bunch of bullshit's happening? I don't want to get involved in that. I'm just gonna stay here. Y'all have fun with that. You see the division in the kingdom. You see that none of them are working together. It's completely divided. And then it plays into the gameplay itself. Because that asshat is taking advantage and looting villages, you have to go save the villages. Because that asshat is staying on his throne and not moving, you can't go to that part of the map. Because Elliot's a horny dick and wants to fuck Lachus, you gotta fuck him up. Like, it ties into everything beautifully. And some people say that it's annoying because it's, like the bargain ring particularly. It's almost impossible to get the bargain ring. I mean, I don't think that's really a problem. Do you know how powerful the bargain ring is? You know the bullshit you can do with that? Like, an objective being hard, if the bargain ring were required, yeah, I'd see the point. But it's a bonus. Last I checked in RPGs, you get bonuses for doing really hard shit. Like, the bargain ring's hard to get. It's not impossible. You can get the bargain ring. You just have to hoof ass, which can be difficult. And I know some people dislike the whole, like, Sigurd's at the top left, and then you need to position him to the right. I'm not too bothered by that. Because, you don't really lose anything if you don't get there fast enough. Like, the only thing in danger is Lachus's original castle, Nordian, getting captured. But the game's made a point about castle defense, and you really have to drag your feet if Nordian's in danger of being captured. Like, you can get back there in time. And then the next part with the sleep staff, that sleep staff's annoying. You don't have restore yet. What the fuck is this woman doing here? Curious. The game just gave me a silence staff. I wonder if I should hold on to that. Like, I don't get the complaints with Agustria. I think it's a fantastic map. So you're asking, why is it not an S tier then? Easy. Lachus's knights are fucking stupid. That is something I cannot defend. Because Lachus is a unit designed around grinding her up and making her a god. She's like an S that shows up a bit sooner. Like, and Master Knight Lachus pretty much solos the generation. Absurdly powerful. Her entire first map kind of punishes you for trying to use her, which you need to do to get her up and running. Again, and the reward is the Knight Ring. I know I just said that, oh, it's an optional objective, but like, I'm in control of the bargain ring. Whether or not I get to that ring in time is a difficulty that's on me. I need to go fast enough. With the Knight Ring, it's, are Lachus's knights fucking dumb or not? And that is out of my control. That's why I do not like that. Oh, and Lewin having to return to the home castle to talk to Aranis. The game gave you the return staff last map. That's not a problem. It gives you the tools to deal with the problems at hand. Lion King Eldigan. A. I love this map. First of all, I haven't mentioned the OST up until this point, because they're all good. Every chapter map is good. Lion King Eldigan's the best track in the game. I am not accepting criticism. It's one of the best tracks in the series. Love that song. Solid bop. This one has a lot of the similar ideas of, everything's starting to go wrong. Eldigan, it's pretty obvious you have to fight him. The fucking chapter is named Lion King Eldigan. This is also a map that you have to worry about castle defense, because there are some goons from the right coming at your home castle. And then the Cross Knights are coming from the left and are ready to attack your home castle. So you have to kind of be ready. And it doesn't feel cheap. It's pretty obvious where things are going to come from. So the big clash with Eldigan is hard. It is everything it was built up to be. And I'll be honest, can you even... I've never actually tried to fight Eldigan. How do you even kill him? Is it like with Quan getting a lucky adept proc? One thing I can think of. But fighting the Cross Knights, after they helped you in Chapter 1 and seeing them, like, first-hand fighting them, is great. A great payoff to that scene. And the map itself has objectives everywhere that you have to worry about. Like, it's not as easy as boom, bam, bop. You get to kill Chagall, which is always great. And then there's another choke point, which is great. You can see it coming from the pirates up north. Like, sure, oh, the bridge magically appearing can be kind of bullshit. Come on. You can tell something's gonna happen there. Plus you have, like, Protecting Brigade, Claude, and I can never pronounce her name correctly. I think the map is great. Fantastic, fun to play, good story integration. It's an A tier. While its story integration isn't as good as, say, Crisis in Agustria, it's more fun to play, so I think it balances out there. Dance in the Skies. This is another map that's held back by one stupid thing. Again, this is another map that's like, oh, Sigurd has to go all the way up here, and then all the way back. First of all, getting up there, I think, is good. It forces you to pay attention to leadership stars, because, there are several goons with high leadership stars coming at you, that you have to, like, wait, I can't fucking hit any of these people. Oh, it's that bitch, fuck him up. So it forces you to pay attention to that. The map is a good balance of terrain and not, like, there are some places that are difficult to traverse, but most of it's a road you can deal with. My one problem with the map is before conquering the first castle, there's the bridge. And if you don't know to put Dew next to the bridge so he can unlock it, you have to take a long, boring path around that sucks balls. And the game never gives you any indication that Dew can do that. Like, he's never opened a bridge before. Like, there are other bridges in the game that are raised and lowered, but they're always tied to story events. Dew is never done that. So unless you know to do that, the map kind of sucks. That's why it's in B, mainly. And then the other thing I love is that it takes control away from the player as you're watching Mana die. Because while Sigurd is making that trek back home, you have to sit there and watch as Mana and her squad gets gunned down. You're powerless. It's the first of many times Sigurd is powerless to stop something. Because with Eldigan's death, it was a tragedy, but Sigurd could do something. He failed, but he tried to talk him out of it. He fought him, and that wasn't... You had some control, even if you lost. Here, you have no control. You just have to watch it happen, and it fucking sucks. Or, you know, you could have also just rescued Sigurd, and he could have just been there waiting and ready, but... a return Sigurd, excuse me. And then the rest of the map, getting through. I like the small objective of rescuing the civilians. I think getting a free level up for each one you rescue is a neat idea. It's a good incentive. And then again, on a smaller scale to Crisis in Agustria, you see that the two brothers are fucking assholes and are trying to kill Lana. Actually, wait, is Lana's name L-A-H-N-A the same as Lana L-A-N-A? Why the fuck didn't they just call her Rana? That would have been... We have Nana, Lana, and Lana now, apparently. Okay. So I like Dancing in the Skies. The dumb shit with Dew And, like, the one mountain you have to traverse on the way to save the civilians that's kind of slow. It's not great, it's not the greatest, but I think it's very good. Door to Destiny, or Doors of Destiny. I fucking love this map, because everything sucks. It's the final battle for Sigurd. You would expect some kind of triumphant final battle, but everything is terrible. It starts with an immediate objective. Sigurd's dad, Byron, is dying, and you need to save him. So immediate objective out of the gate. It actually plays into castle defense because your home base is also going to be under attack from some goons to the left. So you gotta take care of that. 3, the first 5 seconds set the tone, because you'll rescue Byron pretty quickly. I think his name is Byron. I might be crazy. And when you rescue him, he dies. Like, he doesn't survive. And that immediately sets the pace of no matter what Sigurd does, he's fucked. You also have the climactic finale for like 27 different plot lines here. You have Ideen and Brigit's dickbag brother, which is both a conclusion of their little arc and also Mana's killer. Then you have Langebolt, who is your I forgot about Eldigan. He's got a holy weapon, and unlike Eldigan, who you could talk out of the fight, you have to deal with Langebolt. Langobolt? What the fuck it is. Like, you can't get around him. You gotta deal with the holy weapon. And they hurt. They hurt a lot. So that's a genuinely difficult boss and the conclusion of Lex's little arc there. And then, much like with Mana, power is taken away from you, and you just have to watch the Yeed massacre. It sucks. It's painful. And it hurts more with Mana, because while Mana was really likable, she wasn't around very long. We didn't have enough time to give a shit. We gave a little bit of a shit, but with Quan and Ethelyn, we cared. We liked them. They were cool. And then they died. And we just had to watch it. And it also creates a little bit of dramatic irony, because Sigurd doesn't realize it until later, but the entire little opening bit to Tracking the Desert, it sucks. Like, you know, oh no, Sigurd. And then comes the arduous trek through the desert. Now, it sucks. I mentioned in this part, getting your movement taken away sucks. It plays into Doors of Destiny. It's kind of like, there's a sense of dread in that chapter. All throughout. A lot of conversations give you the impression of like, things aren't going right here. Like Du and Jomke, Claude and Ideen. There's just this sense that, excuse me, everything's about to go wrong. So you have this quick break while I get a drink. Oh man, edit your videos better. No, my water breaks are being left in. Can't stop me. So it's this painful trek. It's for the theming. Call back to that joke. And the theming is everything is terrible. Quan and Ethelyn are dead. Fucking, your dad is dead. And you're just trudging along this desert. Everything sucks. The Wyvern Riders are attacking you. You're getting pelted by meteor. Everything is terrible. And then, then Arvis's gambit starts. And it's like, oh my goodness, we have friends. And suddenly, at the very end, the game shifts from, ah, fuck, to, haha, fuck yeah, as you now have green unit allies and your players who are finally out of the fucking desert, and you are pincering Raptor. You are going to fucking kill that guy. And it's this great, like, triumphant feeling of everything was okay. Obviously, that particular sentiment didn't age well. I think the Desert March being so monotonous and painful builds up the anticipation of everything going wrong at the end. I think it does it beautifully. And then Selip's first chapter happens, and it's alright. You know, It's an alright chapter. The map itself is, it's alright at first. You're kind of getting used to everything you just witnessed at the end of Sigurd's Tale. Like, you're really from everyone you know is dead, bitch. So, it starts a little slow, but it's a good, like, reset. You're given a bunch of new, fresh blood. Their fights aren't too difficult. Like, you're not really going to be in danger of dying at first. And you're just going through, building up power. And it ties into the story, because a big part of Selef's character is he feels as though he's in the shadow of his way cooler dad. And you feel it. Your entire power level is brought down to the ground floor. You don't just feel... The story doesn't just tell you Selef is weaker than his dad. You're playing it. You're feeling it. Selef is not up to par to his dad. Larcey and Ulster are not up to par to their mother. Like, everything is weaker. So you feel their frustrations. And then as you're going through, you're getting stronger because your units have greater potential than the first generation. But just that little gameplay tie is what I think pumps this up from a decent map to a B tier map. The whole Aran Samson archetype split with, is it Johan or Johan? Is it a soft J or a hard J? Who knows? I say Johan and Johaliver. Doesn't really feel that important. I do like the idea that if you take the better unit, the mounted unit, Johan, you get a worse book for Julia. You get Aura instead of Nosferatu, which is infinitely better for her. Whereas if you take the worst unit, Johalvir, you get Nosferatu. And also, I always pick Johalvir because it makes it easier to just get to the castle if you cut down through the south, I feel. If I had a complaint with the map, it's that, their father really doesn't feel like anything. Because, you know, it's Brian is the one that's important, kind of, not even. House Dozel is one that really could have been done a little better. Because, like, you kill 2 brothers of House Dozel, and that doesn't really feel like anything that matters. Yeah, they really don't... They don't handle Verdane's royal houses or Dozel's royal houses very well, in my opinion. The boss just feels like an unceremonious, haha, you beat a boss! Yeah. Anyways, Chapter 7. Fuck that map. I've gone on record saying it's the only map in the game I don't like, and my least favorite map in the game. But, yeah. That opening bit sucks. It's marching through the desert without any of the theming that Chapter 5 had. You're just going through the desert. And, like, your units aren't doing enough. At the start, there's a bunch of dark goons, and you kill them, and you kill them so quickly. They're, like, dead. Excuse me. And then all of your units are just sitting there, waiting for Selef to conquer that castle. And I get what they are trying to do, because, oh, Leaf, Finn, or Jan... yeah, no, not Finn or Jan. Jan is not a substitute unit for Finn. Leaf, Finn, and Nana or Jan are under attack. You have to save them. Problem, they're never really in danger. The units attacking them aren't strong enough to really pose a threat. So it's not, like, urgent. You don't feel any urgency about it. So as Selef is making this boring-ass trek, well, it doesn't really fucking matter. I'm not worried about Leaf. There's no reason to worry about Leaf. And then there's the, when you go south, it introduces Ishtar. And you know, it's this big story deal about, oh man, not everyone is evil. That's fine, story beats, that's fine. The problem is, once you defeat Ishtar, you have to go back up and conquer what the fucking castle Ares comes out of. And I've been saying, oh, just use the rescue staff. Like, oh, that's fine. All the other times you had to backtrack, there was a player-controlled castle there on the way to where you needed to go. That's not so here. Seliph just has to turn around and walk. And he's also not Sigurd. It didn't really feel as bad with Sigurd because he was mounted. You could just get there. With Seliph, you have to turn everything around, go up, conquer that castle, bring Ares in there, get lean, and then go out again, and now you could use the warp staff to save some time if Lana's there and you handed it down to her from Ideen. And then you can go save Leaf, and then you can deal with Bloom. And it's just not... I don't like it. It's backtracking that I can't defend because there's nothing to be gained from it. The only thing that I kind of like, other than on this map, is the idea of the trio of sisters that come back both next chapter and in the final chapter. I think getting triangle attacked is fucking scary. I'm pretty sure they can triangle attack. I'm like 90% sure they can. I've never seen it happen, but the fact that they can do it to you is cool as fuck. Like, haha, bitch, you were using this to carry you through Arcanea? Now it's on you. Enjoy. Like, I'm gonna enjoy this drink. But yeah, fuck this map. Only map in the game I don't like. I get what they're going for, I just think they fail at it. Here we go! Chapter 8. The Wyvern Riders of Thracia. I like this one because it's one of those where you're immediately on the defensive. Because now, Leaf, Nana, and Finn are under real danger. Enemies with stats are coming to fight them. And, they gotta deal with that. You also have to deal with all the knights that are stopping you from dealing with that. It creates immediate tension. Very good. And then after you deal with it, Ishtar shows up, and that bitch is scary. Like, it lets you know right away, like, oh, fuck, that's gonna kill me. Granted, it also sets up, because you fight Ishtar 3 fucking times. Alright, like, it sets it up that, this is gonna be a problem. It again reinforces that holy weapons are still strong, really scary when an enemy has them. And then, but it's not unreasonable, because you have Shannon. Now, you can deal with her, but if anyone other than Shannon approaches her, she's going to kill them. So, like, it's a threat. They aren't pussyfooting around. It's chapter 8 now, my dudes. Deal with this shit. And again, it sets up Sed very nicely, because he's soloing a fucking army of Dragon Knights. And again, the fleeing civilians, I like that. I like that objective. It has that one village all the way off to the right, you know, that can be tricky to get to, but the reward is worth it. It's a good map. I really like it. Sets up things very nicely. And then there's, For Whose Sake? I love this map too. Hannibal is a very neat objective that has a lot of ways you can deal with him. It's very similar to Ira from Chapter 1, but Hannibal is both more threatening and less threatening at the same time, because that motherfucker has leadership stars. So while Hannibal isn't as threatening to your units as Ira was, Hannibal makes all of his goons stronger. That's hard to deal with. And you have a few ways to deal with him. You have the Sleep Staff, or the Sleep Edge, if you're feeling frisky. There's also some cheese strats where if you kill all of his dudes and then block the entrance to his castle, he'll try to get more reinforcements, and he can't, so he just stays there. And then the dash to get over to Corporal, because it's not complicated. Like, it is very clear what you have to do to stop Hannibal. It's not hard to figure out. Doing it is harder. Because while all that's happening, Travant's trying to kill you. It's immediately like you need to be on the defensive and the offensive at the same time. Altena, I forgot. Altena tries to kill you first, and then Travant. So yeah, it gets even worse. So you have to be on the offensive and the defensive at the same time, right from the word go. So it is very frantic at the start. And I like that they sacrificed some difficulty, because Travant is not as difficult as he should be. Like, he can still hurt you. He can still fucking kill you. But Travant is not nearly as threatening as a lot of the other bosses because his lance isn't there. He gave it up. And there's so many, like... There's a lot of interpretations to that you can handle. If I ever do a Travant video one day, which I've put him on the polls, he's never won, but he's been there. I'll go into it. But that was a fight you've been waiting for a while. And to fight a half-assed Travant, it's great character stuff. The stretch from, like, rescuing Corporal to getting him to Hannibal can be a little slow, which is why I'm putting it at A and not S. And then the final bit I really like. Because Arone, this is the only time, really, in the entire game, someone says, defend your fucking castles. Arone attacks your castles. And, like, they're genuinely in danger. He's flying at them. Your home castle, even. So, that's where the rescue staff comes in. Or, you just got Altena, fly her over to defend. Like, it gives you options on the chapter so that it doesn't feel completely unfair if it happens and you don't have the, I keep calling it the rescue staff. The return staff. For some reason, I do not know why I keep calling it rescue staff. The return, warp, you have ways to defend your castle, but it asks you to remember to do that. I would love FE4 a lot more, and I already love it a lot, if more maps made you actually fucking defend your castles. Arone is striking you where you weren't expecting it. And I think it's all very good. I think Arone being warped away could have been handled better, but that's a story complaint more than a map complaint. Fun to play, fun challenges to deal with, good story gameplay integration. I like the map. Chapter 10, there's another A tier. This map is one of those where it starts a little slow, and that's what keeps it away from S, in my opinion. Because, like, oh man, Hilda's killing more of the orphans! Oh no, you can get to them fast enough. Like, I do like the generic boss. He's kind of, people really like him, the purple one. Where it's like, I'm sick of killing children. Alright, go kill more children. Fine, but I'm not gonna play him the whole time. And how he leisurely strolls to go kill the children. That's just such an absurd sentence to say. And it is kind of funny, but like, they're not in danger. You'll get to them. It sets up Hilda, I guess, and that's good, but Hilda herself isn't that threatening yet. And you don't kill her, so you don't have the satisfaction of that yet. But though it starts slow, the next 2-3 set pieces are great. Once you open the gate in the middle of the map becomes great. Because you have a whole new objective, and that is, Julius. Julius is there, and he will kill you. And this is really, I think, the only time in Fire Emblem where killing your own unit is an intelligent decision. Because by this point, you should have the Valkyrie staff. Unless you didn't pair Claude off. Or paired him off to, like, Frigate or something, which I don't even know how you do that. So, it's a valid strategy to let someone get killed and then revive them. Because that will make Julius and Ishtar leave. Or, alternatively, you can try to kill Ishtar. Some flyer dance shenanigans can make that work. But they're positioned in a way that anywhere Ishtar can attack, Julius can. And he will kill you. You might be able to survive an attack from him. I don't fucking know how. He'll kill any of your units at that point. And it creates this panic scenario that's really good, but has ways to work around it. I love that little middle section with the two of them. And then it's the final clash against Arvis. It starts with a bridge choke point. A lot of fighting, you're pushing through, trying to get past and fuck up Arvis. And you have to worry, because more children are in danger, and you gotta go save them. You gotta get your Turfing back. Turfing? I don't know how it's pronounced. It's fun to play, you get the emotions that are going through, And the final clash with Arvis is what it was built up to be. He is not easy to kill. It's worth it. I love that map. Fun to play. It just takes a little too long to get going. And then there's the final chapter of Gen 2. God bless this map. I love it to pieces. So much. It is... Holy fucking shit, everything is going right. Like, from the word go, you are fighting. Like, almost every major house is represented here. Dozel comes back. Thracia's there. Veltomer, Chalfie, Friege, like every set piece is coming together in this final map. There's not a single fight that feels unimportant. I guess the first one a little bit, but it's Claude's home, so the scene after it kind of makes it, and we'll leave there. But you have the end of the Wicked House Dozel. You finally fucking kill Friege. Jungbi comes back. Fucking apparently Ring Dick had a son. And now Andre's, or was it Andre and then his son is Ring? No, Ring is Andre's father. Andre Brigid and Idine's father. Okay. Basically, the long-haired fuck that killed Mana had a son, and now he's a problem. You didn't even know that house was still a problem. It's still a problem. It's the conclusion of everything. Every fight has weight to it. You're not killing generics anymore. Again, except for the first house. You're killing the Holy Blood Warriors. The ones who are, fucking your shit up. Faces, not just generics, are everywhere. You're fighting. The Deadlords show up. Why are they there? I don't know. Locked as a dick. Ishtar's here. The third time. You finally kill her. Fucking Christ. Get Mjolnir out of there. And then there's Julia, who again is it's an objective that by now you can deal with. You can handle Julia. Like Sleeper, Silencer might be difficult. Just you can deal with Julia by now. Can you deal with Julia while Julius is raining hellfire upon you? You finally kill Manfroy, and then at last, after seeing Julius' last map, you can kill the fuck out of him with Naga. It's great. Everything about the final map is a worthwhile conclusion to everything. The whole map feels like the end of the Holy War. It's fun to play, story gameplay ties together well, everything about it is good. There we go. That was it. There was a lot of story talk here, but go figure, the guy that talks about writing for his channel likes writing integration to his gameplay. If you enjoyed this, I'll do another game. Not every game in Fire Emblem really tries to have story gameplay integration like this. So for most of the maps past this, it will just be how fun are they to play. But Genealogy's special. And I wanted to highlight that. So, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. I'll put up an end card with the actual maps representing people instead of faces, so it's a bit more clear to see. I'll see you next time. Take care.